Principal, all the principals please come. Risha, you want to go in first? Let us know. We'll wait here. Let us go in, or you want us to wait? We can go in. Okay. Yeah. Namaste. Paul Beres, please come forward now. When you come here, pull it out and then turn around, right? We need more Paul Beres. Turn it around. Yes. सत्य है।
राम नाम
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 सत्य है।
Okay, let's go straight. Let's go. Ram Nam.
सत्य है।
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 Ram Nam.
सत्य
Okay. Turn it around.
And that must be Mr. Maestri. And he said Mr. Maestri must take in charge of everything, because he's been with me for many, many years. And I told him, Prem, but why are you saying this? And then we drove from there and came home. That was 6th December. We were planning a function on the 6th of March, and Prem sent me a message on my phone to say, Mr. Maestri, I'm going to Mauritius 6 o'clock in the morning. He was either in front of me or I was in front of him on certain days. Justice cannot be done in a few minutes in celebrating the monumental life of Emiraj, a principal extraordinaire, a loyal friend, a dedicated family man, a mentor and a guide, and indeed a human being who selflessly laid his life bare for the betterment of all. Prem, as the head of Greenberry Secondary, changed the trajectory of the school into a prized institution of excellence, a much sought after school in which after year, learners excel beyond expectations, repeatedly holding top 10 positions and bringing pride, joy and honor to the school themselves and the community at large. There were only 2 schools in South Africa, ladies and gentlemen, where parents slept overnight for the place. That was the primary school and that was Greenberry Secondary. Today, the alumni of Greenberry Secondary boasts many renowned professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, businessmen and women, artisans who are the very best in their field, all because one man believed in them. This was simply because he was committed to the cause of a better world, a better society, and a better humanity. In a world degenerating so rapidly, Mr. Ramnarain was just not a candle in the wind. He was a light that changed the destiny of many. But sadly, his candle has indeed burnt out long before his legend ever will. And a legend he will be fondly remembered as. Life is a moment in time. This is not a cliche. It's a reality we all face. And Prem has given his to ensure that those that have passed through his hands will have the moments in the sun, the time in this world, and the glory for all mankind we believe in. His dedication, his professionalism, and his simple demeanor of executing his duties puts him in the Hall of Fame of great educators. And we all can be extremely grateful to have had the privilege. Dear friends, it is not an easy task delivering this eulogy as I hold back deep emotions only because I know the world has lost a giant amongst men. And I've lost a trusted and beloved friend, H.Ramnarain. But I seek solace in the fact that Prem gains his wings to the great yonder aplomb and distinction with honor and respect, and indeed with the love and blessings of all around him. You cannot ask for more, and if you were asked for his parting words, I'm convinced it would have been similar to the dying words of Lord Nelson. Thank God I've done my duty. I know I speak for all when I say that it is with deep reverence and affectionate gratitude that we acknowledge a soul that has given his very best and more a world that needed it most. To his family, may God Almighty grant you succor in this moment of irreplaceable loss. Rest assured that he is flying high, that beaming smile, waving his hands to us all. May God grant him moksha and soul attain deserved place. On a lighter note, may I end this speech just 1 minute. When we went to Santana on the retreat, Mr. Ramnarain, Mr. Tusi and I decided to take a walk in the morning, and we left our sandals on the sand. And when we came back, our sandals were taken away. Mr. Ramnarain was so upset, he took the next car and he came back home without even telling us. That's the kind of person he was. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
अब मुझको क्या करे मैया तेरी गोद में सरे मैया अब मुझको क्या करे मैया दुनिया नजरे तेरे तो फेरे दुनिया नजरे तेरे तो फेरे मुझ पे तेरी नजर मैया तेरी गोद में सरे मैया अब मुझको क्या करे मैया मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय जयकार तेरा दर्शन है तेरा दर्शन है तेरा दर्शन है तेरा दर्शन है परों से अली मोया तेरा एक जयकारा काफी है काफी है मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय जयकार दिल में लगा तेरा दरबार मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैं सत्तान ओ मेरे जीवन मैं सत्तान माता ओ मेरे जीवन दाता घर में सबसे गहराइया तेरा और मेरा है नाता है नाता मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय जयकार दिल में लगा तेरा दरबार मैया तेरी जय जयकार तेरी गोद में सरे मैया अब मुझको क्या करे मैया दुनिया नजरे तेरे को फेरे दुनिया नजरे तेरे को फेरे उसको क्या डरे मैया मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय जयकार मैया तेरी जय मैया तेरी जय मैया हरे श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय.
The next speaker is going to be Mr. CS of Gazela, Gandhi CMC, the Department of Education. You can come through and speak. Thank you very much.
Program Director, the Ramnarain family, friends, colleagues, and comrades. It is indeed our pleasure that we are afforded an opportunity as the Department of Education to come and say a few words in this ceremony where we bid farewell to Mr. Ramnarain. It is not very easy to speak of a man of this stature. As the previous speaker has alluded, a man that has touched so many lives and has indeed laid the ground for such lives to prosper. We have worked with Mr. Ramnarain, and yesterday when we held a meeting of high school principals, in paying respect and tribute to him, we said this is one principal that was par excellence. Records and archives will prove that for more than a decade, when he was a principal of Greenberry Secondary School, this gentleman lying before us today positioned Greenberry Secondary School as #1 in the district of Pinetown for more than a decade without fail. But beyond that, Prem was also an accounting teacher, as a principal leading by example. In his teaching of accounting, he ensured and achieved great pass rate of his learners, such that accounting always obtained 100% in that school without fail, again for more than a decade. I'm only talking about a period when he was a principal. I'm not referring to a period when he was a teacher, a departmental head, and all the other ranks that he held. This is one principle that the Department of Education used as a reference point when schools were struggling to give the department the results that we thought those schools should. on a number of occasions, Mr. Ramnarain will be called to address the underperforming schools as a mentor and a coach to those principals. We are, as a Department of Education, saddened indeed and wish to pass our condolences to the entire family of Prem, to friends, and the community that he served so diligently. Mr. Ramnarain led the school to an extent that everybody in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, at least, would want their child after primary school to go and learn at Greenberry Secondary School. That is why admissions at Greenberry Secondary School during his tenure were a nightmare for all of us in the Department of Education, because everybody wanted their child to go to Greenberry Secondary School. It is in his tenure that parents will spend 3 nights queuing to get an admission into grade 8 of Greenberry Secondary School. I think that defined the man, the character, and the kind of leadership, skills, and acumen that he possessed. Surely all of us here will know all the media and associated news that will spread around about admissions of that school. Of course, some of it was unduly negative. And when you engaged with Prem, he will be able to prove to you beyond any reasonable doubt that his work was or could not be questioned. I must admit that as a person, he's one of those very few principals that I will liaise and consult with to get strategies to improve the results of the CMC. A very humble giant, but his work was very profound. To an extent that when he wanted to retire at an early stage, I sat down with him for about 1.5 hours in my office, persuading him not to leave, because the question I would ask, do we have a person that will carry on, will take the baton from you and ensure the sustainability of the legacy that you have created at Greenberry Secondary School? And indeed, colleagues, we're not ashamed to say Prem's shoes have been so big that up until now, 3 years after he has exited the system, no one has been able to perfectly fit them. Although we are trying, but his shoes were too big to fill. Indeed, Prem listened to me, he was persuaded, and he extended his stay in the department for another 4 years after I had persuaded him not to leave when he initially wanted to exit the system. If I'm not mistaken, Benny, that was at 60 years, and I persuaded him to take a few more years, and it took 4 years extra. That is why I felt a little bit guilty that Prem only enjoyed only 3 years of his retirement. Had I not maybe taken the other 4 years, at least we'll be speaking 7 years that he would have enjoyed of his retirement. On behalf of the Department of Education, and I say this also carrying words of comfort and condolences from the district director, and I have seen some colleagues from the district. One thing that is guaranteed to all of us in life is that at some stage we will have to depart this earth. But that is not the end of our lives, for the life in eternity that begins. We believe that after some time we are going to be reconciled with Prem and be able to see him once again. Let us not despair in his loss. However, let us take the good lessons and the footprints that he has left for all of us and carry on with the struggle of life. With those few words, we want to say sorry to the family and sorry to everybody else that was a beneficiary of the lessons that could be learned from the life of Prem. We wish to thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll now call upon Mr. H.Ramnarain, the secondary colleague and a friend, Mr. H.Ramnarain, on behalf of. Thank you.
Good afternoon, family and friends of the late H.Ramnarain. I'm H.Ramnarain, collegial brother to this giant of a man who I've had the privilege of spending 3 decades at his favorite second best home, Greenbury Secondary. This is probably the most difficult task I've been assigned to, so please bear with me as I attempt to use words that are inadequate to pay tribute to a wonderful human being, a brother, a mentor, a great friend, and indeed a giant in education in this entire province. The captain of Greenbury crew for over 20 years has steered us to become the most esteemed and sought after public school in the province, holding records for top results during his tenure as principal. Prem was a bearer of excellence in school administration and curriculum management, a pace setter who was widely emulated by many principals in the Phoenix region. Very few can claim the accolade of managing a school of around 1,600 learners, plus minus 60 staff, while teaching and achieving the best results in accounting. I remember before I could come to Greenbury, I used to hear the stories about him being the best accounting teacher in the country. And yes, indeed, he was awarded a top accolade of producing the best results in the late 80s, I think it was, when he was the level 1 teacher, the best accounting results in the country. I think it was one of the finest. Be fair, be transparent, and lead by example. We learned so much from him, not just from what he said, but mainly by what he did. He truly leads by example. When he wanted something done, he would often say, and my colleagues from BNB will attest to this is an instruction. We could not challenge the instruction because we could see that this is not an instruction us to do something that he cannot or is not doing himself. Beyond the classroom, H.Ramnarain put himself as a son of the soil. I was fortunate enough to spend so much time with him during our socials, and I got to know that deep down, the man had such a wonderful heart. He had such a broad paradigm. He was not just concerned about results. Yes, we're all results driven. But I think more important than that, he cared and was concerned about the well-being of the learners. He wanted to empower learners in the community so that they can get out of the vicious cycle of poverty. He wanted the people in Phoenix to improve their quality of lives. And I think to a large extent, he's achieved that. A towering figure in my own personal life. Prem was instrumental in my growth as a man and a teacher. When he became principal at GSS, I was just about foolishly determined to buck the system. He never wavered in setting me straight. He also never wavered in saving my skin, as he has done for so many educators at Greenbury Secondary. You know, he was a man that achieved and received a lot of accolades. But in my interaction with him and my vocation with him, he never ever took credit for the accolades he received. He always transferred those accolades to the educators that he had at GSS. He would say, and my colleagues know this, he would say, "We have gold at Greenbury Secondary," referring to the staff at Greenbury. I shall forever cherish my memories of our fun-filled Friday afternoons in those days, in the late 80s, early 90s. It was a very common thing that schools played against each other, soccer, cricket, whatever was in season. And after the game, we would socialize and have a home and away game, and if we were at home, then we'd host the other school. And at times, I remember, I was speaking to Dane just now, Dane, Bobby, Rally, Kings, and a few of them are late now. We would be at that staff room till perhaps 1 or 2 in the morning, spending time and enjoying ourselves. Who could forget Rurugun Rise, guitar strumming, and Prem insisting on us playing those songs, Kings and I, the band company's songs that he loved. In recent times, after a few of our educators retired, we formed a chat group called the Big Five. It was Prem, Bobby, Dees, Rally, and myself, and then Logan joined us later on. We used to have our social meetings very frequently, and these were our happiest times together. Party Prem came to life with his carefree laughter, and together with Bobby, they would make their witty wisecrack jokes. We spent hours on robust debates over the state of affairs of schools in particular, and education in this province in general. Needless to say, we were all in very high spirits at that time, but we always concluded with the absolute belief that if we did better, if we worked harder, if we went beyond the call of duty, our children's future would be better. Prem's life story was a very inspirational one. Like a phoenix, he rose from the ashes of poverty. Those of you that grew up with him, and I've met lots of friends and family, and they know where he came from. And he became a beloved son and an icon of the Phoenix community. The exemplary manner in which he conducted his affairs, the way he went about doing his business for education, deserves commendation, I think, of the highest order. In my opinion, I think it's unparalleled. I personally shared many wonderful moments of prayer over 3 decades. There were so many anecdotes, too many for me to mention, it's foreign. But I'm glad we created the Big Five chat group, which gave us an opportunity to keep in touch on a regular basis, even after his retirement. When it was time to go home after our socials, Prem would insist I remain after the guys left. Bobby G's and Rally, they were very disciplined. At a certain time they'd leave. And then he affectionately used to call me Lighty. He said, "Hey Lighty, let's park for a little while." So I had to spend more hours with him. And then often he would invite me home. We would meet Bina, maybe play the guitar, sing a few songs, and then I would head home. And I remember recently after we met, and the guy that got home, and this was quite a defining moment, you know, apart from other special moments. I had a breakdown at the intersection, there Greenbury, opposite McDonald's. I called him and told him, "Hey, I have a breakdown." He got Bina to drive him to me. It was a very busy period. And they parked their car at McDonald's, they called me, and they waited till the tow truck arrived. I think it must have been over 1.5 hours. And he made sure to let me know through numerous phone calls and routine that he's there and is waiting for me. Eventually the tow truck came, I got home safely, and he'd make that phone call to say, "Hey, are you okay? Are you well? You need anything?" That's the kind of human being he was, and that touched my heart. There were lots of incidences where Prem showed, you know, kindness. He had a heart of gold. Sometimes when we couldn't get home, or we couldn't drive our cars home, he would pay the taxi driver just to take us home safely. That was the kind of human being Prem was. We will certainly miss him. As I say farewell to this man beyond measure, I want to thank Bina and Prem's 3 girls, as they affectionately call them, my 3 girls, Prashana, Wanita, and Tasmita, for the sacrifices that you made as Prem dedicated his life to education. Know, Bina, that your husband and Prashana, Wanita, and Tasmita, your dad, was no ordinary man. He has, without a doubt, left the world and community better than he found it. Go well, my dear friend. We will miss you. Till we meet again, you'll never walk alone. Thank you.
On behalf of Greenbury, P.E. Chetty to come through. Thanks. Thank you.
The true measure of a man is the legacy he leaves. At its best, a legacy can help make life better for those who outlive us. H.Ramnarain's immense contribution to the education and upliftment of thousands of pupils during his tenure as principal of Greenbury Secondary bears testament to the enduring and invaluable legacy he left behind. Indeed, the name H.Ramnarain will always be synonymous with Greenbury Secondary, as both were inextricably linked to one another. H.Ramnarain was an ardent educator before he was catapulted to the position of principal at Greenbury Secondary. His remarkable passion for accounting, a subject at which he excelled, was only eclipsed by his unwavering dedication towards his learners. Diligent, brilliant, and meticulous in all his endeavors, Prem was a force to be reckoned with. His exemplary management style was to lead by example. Thus, his work ethic was unmatched. In steering Greenbury Secondary towards exceptional accolades year after year, Prem stood head and shoulders above his contemporaries. He was greatly admired by the teaching fraternity and beyond for his outstanding leadership that transcended a challenging work environment. Despite all of this success, however, Prem remained humble and kept the common touch. His ability to connect with people regardless of their status made him a popular figure even outside the school environment. Known for his no-nonsense approach, the community of Phoenix eagerly embraced and respected his tenacious spirit, safe in the knowledge that their children were receiving quality education under his stewardship. In life, each connection we make is new and different. Everyone who enters our life is a teacher, and each soul has a different lesson to work through us. As a staff, our connection with H.Ramnarain in this lifetime was blessed and amazing. Our lives as educators and human beings have become all the richer for having known and interacted with Prem. His excellent administration at Greenbury Secondary has made us better, more inspired teachers and workers. We salute H.Ramnarain for his professionalism and dedication. When the story of Greenbury Secondary is narrated, H.Ramnarain will feature as the main character, the hero who led, inspired, and conquered, the leader who left an indelible imprint in our hearts and minds. Today, as we bid Prem a final goodbye, I would like to conclude with this quote: "Death doesn't conquer all, love does. Love wins by lasting through death. To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die." At this time, I'd just like to ask all educators of Greenbury Secondary, current and retired, if you could stand for 2 seconds, even as we look to Sir and we say, "Farewell, Sir. We will always remember you. We will always love you." Thank you.
प्रभु जी सदा ही कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। प्रभु जी सदा ही कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। प्रभु जी सदा ही कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। प्रभु जी सदा ही कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। जो रास्ता सही हो, जो रास्ता सही हो, उस पे चलाए रखना। कृपा बनाए रखना, कृपा बनाए रखना। प्रभु जी सदा कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। हे तो जहाँ के मालिक तेरे दर की हम सवाली, सब कुछ गया है लेकिन मर्यादा है संभाली। जो सिखाया ना भुलाना, हर हाल मुस्कुराना, आंसू छुपाए रखना, कृपा बनाए रखना, कृपा बनाए रखना। प्रभु जी सदा कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। हे तो जहाँ के मालिक अब क्या गिला करूँ मैं, सब एक बार मानते क्यों रोज ही मरूँ मैं। सह पाऊंगी मैं कैसे गम की चिता पे से, खुद को जलाए रखना, कृपा बनाए रखना, कृपा बनाए रखना। प्रभु जी सदा कृपा हम पे बनाए रखना। हरि ओम श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय।
Our next speaker will be Viren Singh, the son-in-law, and thereafter his brother, H.Ramnarain will come through. Thank you.
Hello everyone. As the Master of Ceremony said, I'm married to Mr. Ramnarain. I'm going to refer to him as Sir throughout the speech. That's how I knew him. I'm married to Tasmita, and I was also a student of Sir's. I was at Greenberry, and I think, I got to see him from different perspectives. First as a student, I was afraid, and then as a father-in-law. What an experience, So during that time, I learned some things about him, observing him first as a student, and then as courting Tasmita, which was also scary, and then, as his son-in-law. So what did I learn? Well, one thing I learned is that, like everyone has failures, everyone has weaknesses, everyone falls sometimes. And so was a person just like us, and that he also had, that he had his failures where he, fail sometimes. But you know what? Amongst us all fallen men, there are some people sometimes that do great things, and Sir was one of them, So there's so many things that everyone said. He was a great professional, he was a great principal, he was a great father, he was a great leader. And I'm not going to go on about that because everybody knows. I just think during my time spent with him, I saw certain qualities which I believe, led to him to his success. I don't think it started with him being a principal. I think it was inherent qualities that he possessed as a person that led to that success. And I think it's qualities that we all can emulate or strive to emulate. The first one is personal diligence. The Oxford Dictionary defines diligence as careful and persistent work or effort. And one thing about Sir, that described him. He was diligent, careful and persistent. Careful in the sense that, everything he did it in like to the T. The way he cut his hair, the way he kept his car in tip-top shape, the way he kept his house, everything was he was just careful in how he did it. He used to do this thing for everyone's birthday in the family. He would give you a note, wish you a happy birthday, put some cash in there, and give it to you. And he had such beautiful writing. You know, he was so careful in even how he wrote. And then persistent work, you know. How do I say this? You know, he wasn't different from us in the sense that, you know, we all watch Netflix and Amazon Prime, and Sir had his days when, like, you know, we shared a relationship where I would send him something and tell him this is nice, watch it, and 2 days later he binged it and he finished it. But you know, the thing is also when it was time to work, he could like discipline himself and just work and do what he needed to do. And I haven't seen anybody else that can, you know, have that type of self-control and discipline when it came to, you know, these important things. It didn't matter whether it was sunshine or rain, he did what he needed to. Another example was shortly after he retired, people might have noticed that he lost some weight. And you know, the thing was, we actually discussed it, and he made a serious intention that he's gonna, as far as I know, he didn't regularly go to the gym while he was the principal. But during this time, he decided, he said, I'm gonna do that. And he started exercising, he started dieting, and I tell you, in like a few months, he lost it all. That's how disciplined he was. It wasn't just in school, it wasn't just in, you know, the professional sense, but even like simple things like a diet plan, he could follow that thing like properly with self-control. And so that's something, that's why I believe, you know, he was highly intelligent and he could have been successful at anything he applied his mind to. And that's what he did with work. That's why he became successful as a principal. He just applied himself. You know, he could have just sat back, collected a salary and did nothing, but he went above and beyond. Many students here, former students, will know what he actually did, you know, in his job, things that he didn't have to do. And the second quality is, I think he was brave. And when I say brave, I mean he was willing to say what needed to be said or what he believed was right, even if no one else was going to say it, and even if no one else would stand it, he would say it. And you know, we live in a society of likes. You know, it's Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and everybody wants to be liked, and we post all that stuff. He didn't have a Facebook account, he didn't have anything, but clearly he was very well liked for someone who didn't make a conscious effort to just be liked. You know, his ideas and his leadership style. Now, we respect him and we admire all his achievements, but I also know that along his life there were people that didn't agree with his leadership style and maybe didn't agree with the way he did things and, you know, all of that. And while we sit back and we look at the success that he accomplished, I think many times it was stressful on him to deal with people disapproving of him. And it's not like he was just, you know, some people, when they attain a certain amount of wealth, they're proud to like kind of, you can go and fight a good fight, or you attain a certain level of muscle, or maybe martial arts, or you maybe buy a firearm and then you're brave to do what you need to. But Sir wasn't like that. He could, if he was alone, if he had no one with him, he'd still say to whoever he needed to say something, he'd say it. In December, we went to a holiday to Cape Town, and we were waiting in a line to do something, go on the cable cars. So there was a group of like rowdy people, maybe 10 people. It was just me, him, Jasmita and Auntie Bina. And these people cut the line. And I'm just thinking to myself, because I know, and he didn't approve of it. And you know, he said, no, this is not allowed. And we actually went and we went to the point where we should have been in the line. Now, you know, many people will be afraid to do that. Many people will be afraid to say what's right in a situation like that with a group of rowdy people. Even I got nervous at that point, but you know, and that was, he wasn't afraid. Yeah, he believed there was a right or wrong, and he lived by it. Also, he was gentle, but at the same time he was stern. You know, he gave people chances. He was understanding. And, you know, I think a lot of students will appreciate that. He would scold you, but you know, when things got bad, he would be there for you. He'd help you. He'd give you a chance. And if you really, really don't want to listen, and you really, really don't want to do what he wants you to do, then he had a solution. Get out, you know. And lastly, he was very loving. He loved his family, he loved his wife, he loved his daughters, and I know you all also loved him. Surely it wasn't easy for them, you know. He was given to the world in a sense, and he was busy out in school and catching people in the corners, catching students doing wrong things and all of that. But every second he was doing that, he was out of the house, you know. And there's a great degree of love and understanding between him and his wife, and him and his daughters. So, yeah, I think he appreciated that. And even his extended family, like once myself and my brother-in-laws, we came into the family, he was like, no questions asked. He'll also fight for us after. He was like, you know. So, and what more can I say? Sir embodied much of what it means to be a man and what it means to be a leader. And I think society can be much better if we all displayed some of those qualities. So I commend him for that. I respected him. We didn't agree on everything. We disagreed on a lot of things and we debated sometimes. But I loved him, I respected him, and we will miss him.
Okay, time is gone. We have our last speaker, and that's the brother. And while it's coming up, I just want to, we have some condolences from Phoenix Child and Family Welfare Society to the H.Ramnarain family, Dr. Willie Kubla. He says how sorry they are, sympathies and condolences to the bereaved family. And Inta Prasad, the Taylor ex-Greenville student, he sends his condolences and sympathies as well to the family. The Phoenix Debating League, Shakira Kubla, founding member, sends condolences and sympathies to the H.Ramnarain family. Thank you very much. Over to brother.
Today is the first time that we three brothers are in the same room, and one of us is delivering a speech, but there's nobody saying to me, "I'm timing you." It was a friendly rivalry between the three of us, and whenever one of us went up to speak, somebody would say, "Well, I'm timing you," because we H.Ramnarain brothers are known to speak for long. We have a lot to say. So we may initially say, "No, we don't want to do it," but when you let us do it, yes. So, you know, the other thing that we were taught by our parents, to be honest, to work hard, and to speak from your heart. And today, that's what I'm doing. But please, understand that this is a broken heart. So, please bear with me. I want to borrow from an American native proverb that said, "When you are born, you cry, and the world rejoices." Live a life in a manner that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. And I can, with all confidence, say today that that man lying there lived his life. He lived his life not like what you and I expect him to live. He lived his life in a way that he wanted to live. And he achieved what he wanted. Yes, we all would have loved to have a bit more time with him. I'm sure there's more he would have achieved. But my brother lived a good life. So, Prem, if you can hear me, well done, my brother. I think the fact that there's so many people here today, there are also people online, means how much you were looked up to in the community, how much you were loved. also want to, I can't use any words to describe Prem. Prem was the son that any parents would pay for. He was, I think, let me tell you a bit about our family. Maybe if I share that with you, you might understand Prem way better than what you do at the moment. We were a family of 6 siblings initially. I lost my younger brother when I was a toddler. I don't remember much. All I remember is a coffin. And I don't think I knew what a coffin was. So I don't have too much memory of him. But Prem was always our elder brother. We lost a sister, a younger sister, from a medical problem some years back. So we were down to 4 from 6. We come from a very humble background. My dad was a laborer in a sugar mill, but my dad was a superhero to us. He was a superhero because he worked 2 jobs. And I don't know how he did it, because most of us do 1 job, and by the end of the day, we are too tired. My mother was a chartered accountant. Would you believe that? No, my mother never went to school. I mean, she went to school. She probably left, and probably at that time it was standard, probably standard 2. But my mother had the brain of a chartered accountant. Because there's no way, coming from where we did, earning what my dad did, and then to put 3 sons through university, you have to be a chartered accountant. You have to be a superhero. There's no other way to do it. Prem made history in Montesquieu. He was the first matriculant to get an A in any subject. He had an A in history, by the way. And I know the day when, those days you go to school and your results are at school. And I remember when he went to get his result, how proud we all were. In our community, it was the first time somebody had an A in any subject in the team. Prem then became one of the first people in our community. We were born in a barracks. We lived in the mill barracks. I'm not sure whether any of you know what it means. It means that we had a communal tap, we had no electricity, we had a communal bathroom. Our houses were separated. We were attached to each other. But the bedrooms were on one side, there was a wide passage, and then the kitchen was across that passage. But we were a very close community. So Prem was one of the first from that community to go to university. And then he completed his Bachelor of Commerce. He decided to do a higher diploma in education, and then got teaching post. His first post was in Peter Madison Girls' Life, where he spent a year. I'm not going to go through more of his academic achievement. I think that's been addressed already. But what I want to say is, for Vipi and I, that's my younger brother, Prem set the path. And there was no way that we were going to go anywhere else but to university. The mold was cast. And I don't think Vipi and I had the courage to break that mold. So we are where we are today. Yes, we worked hard also. But that was set led the way. And I speak for Vupi when I say we are both very thankful for that. My brother was, we used to always have a lot of fun when we get together. The one argument that we never settled was who was a better looking brother. I always thought I claimed the title, but he would always say to people who were listening to us that there's no way it's me, it's him. But today I want to say publicly that Prem, you won this battle. You are a better looking brother. You will always be the better looking brother. I concede publicly to you. My brother was very strong and disciplined. I think those of you that were his colleagues, those of you that were his pupils, will know this. But do you know why he did that? It wasn't fun. It's not fun disciplining people. Sorry, just give me one. You guys are making me nervous. Prem did that because he knew that we got ourselves out of where we were because we managed to get an education. We managed to get to university. And that's what he was trying to do with the children, or the scholars, or the learners who were coming to his school. He was trying to get them to understand that we come from a Phoenix is a poor community. That we come from a community where the only way you're going to get out, and I don't necessarily mean getting physically out of Phoenix. No, I'm not asking people to leave Phoenix. I left home in the late 1980s. I've never come back. I've come back as a visitor, but I've never lived here for more than maybe a day or two when I was visiting. But I've never forgotten where I come from. My roots are here. And that is what Prem was trying to do. I remember a couple of times, sorry, I did warn you that I can go on. I remember a couple of times I'm actually calling him and saying to him, Prem, you know, I hear all the stories about you standing at the gate, taking your car and driving around to where the kids are bunking and pulling them at the air and bringing them back to school, and then taking some of them to your office, and you know what happens in the office. And I said to him, you know, corporal punishment is bad, and you might get yourself in trouble. And you know what he told me? He said, don't stress. I have the parents backing. So he said, parents have told me, discipline the children. So he was comfortable. But he did it out of love. You know, they talk about tough love. This is what it was. It was tough love. My brother was the life of the party. You know, he was a slow starter. If you know him and you were in the party with him, you know, he starts very slow. But once he gets into his zone, it's very hard to stop him. And even if you don't want to do something, it's almost impossible to say no. It's almost impossible not to do what he wants you to do. So, I wish I had more time and I could share more with you. But I want to finish by saying two things. One is to my family. We may never see Prem again with our eyes. But remember this, we will see Prem every day with our hearts. Can I just ask for some indulgence in your part, and if I can ask everybody to stand just for a minute, please, if you can't stand. Can we all do this? Can we all salute Prem and say, thank you, sir.
Thank you. You may be seated. It's now over to our officiating priest. Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Pundarikaksham Savahi Yantara. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Madhuvaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Hasta Pralakshanam. Gopavitresto Vaisnavyo Savitupaha Prasuvautanam Yaskrena Pavitre Yate Rashpati Tasya Se Pavitra Pate Bhutasya Yastama Pune Tachikayam Rai. Adya Mukha Pratasya Adya Mukha Pratasya Prathakva Nivritya Uttam Loka Pratyartam Orve Dehikam Karishe. Adya Mukha Kotra Hemraj Preta Mritistane Shavanamito Brahma Devato Va Eshete Pindo Mehe Va Eshete Pindo Meya Dhyata Tabo. Adhyamukha Pratasya Pratatvan Vritya Uttam Loka Pratyartam Orve Dehikam Karishya. Adhyamukha Kotra Hemraj Preta. No, must be that. Must come over here. Hemraj Preta. Dwara Deshe Pantanamito Vishnu Devato Vayeshete Pindo Meya Dhyata Tabo Kristam. What's that? Take it up. Yeah. Adhyamukha Pratasya Pratatvan Vritya Uttam Loka Pratyartam Orve Dehikam Karishya. Adhyamukha Gotra Hemraj Preta. Chatvara Khechara Nimito Vayeshete Pindo Meya Dhyata Tavo Patistatam. Watch it. Around the other side again now. Adhyamukha Pratasya Pratatvan Vritya Uttam Loka Pratyartam Orve Dehikam Karishya. Adhyamukha Gotra Hemraj Preta. Shranta Bhuta Namna Rudra Devato Vayeshete Pindo Meya Dhyata Tavo Patistatam. आद्यमुख प्रतस्य पृथक् निवृत्य उत्तम लोक प्राप्त्यर्थम और वे देही कम करिष्ये आद्यमुख गोत्र हेमराज प्रेता चित्तस्थाने वाया निमित्त को यमहा दे बतावा ऐसे ते पिंडों में या जियादत वो प्रतिष्ठिता
ओम नमो भगवते शिवानंदाय। 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 नैनं चन्नन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्ति आपो न शोषयति मारुतः। वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते 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 वासुदेवाय। वर्षंसि जीर्णानि येथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तेता शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि जन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि। श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 श्री राम जय The bereaved family, relatives, friends, this world that we live in is called Pratyalok, meaning the land of death. Although every one of us has got some sort of fear of death, what we must always understand and appreciate is that the soul, the Atma, is eternal. It is only this body that's made up of the 5 material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether that dies, and the elements return to the sources from which they came. The soul, the Atma, in accordance with the karmic actions of the individual, will then attain a new body. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 23 emphasizes the eternal nature of the Atma, which is beyond the reach of material things. Chapter 2 verse 23 states that this soul, this Atma of Namaraj, cannot be cut by any weapon, burnt by fire, wet by water, nor dried by the wind. Death is simply a change of body for the soul. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 22 states that just as a person casts off worn out garments and puts on new ones, so the embodied soul, it casts off the worn out body in order to enter into a new one. When a child is born, we often wonder where that soul has come from. When a person passes on, we wonder the direction that that soul may have taken. But to the bereaved family, one's efforts should now go into seeing what can be done to assist the soul during its journey to Babaji's house. Our saints, our scriptures emphasize the need for the family to do all the requisite pujas for the soul, as well as doing charitable acts on behalf of the soul. By doing all the pujas for the soul, the family is assisting the soul to attain the highest abode it can. And by doing charitable acts on behalf of the soul, the family is assisting the soul by removing certain of its karmic actions that it has to work out during their journey to Babaji's house. We're going to shortly be going into the antechamber to complete the last rites. If there's anyone who has not had the opportunity to come forward and pay their respects, please come forward now. We now afford the immediate family members a few moments to offer a rose and say their farewells. Once again, we're going to mention it's going to be only the immediate family members. Thereafter, we're going to call the pallbearers forward and we'll be going into the antechamber. ask the pallbearers to please come forward now. 6 pallbearers, please come forward. Come and ask the rest of us to please stand now. सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखं भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Have you got the ball there in position?
Yeah, go back first.
राम नाम सत्य है।
राम नाम सत्य है।
राम नाम
सत्य है।
राम नाम
सत्य है।